computer. Okay. Okay, well, welcome everybody to our coaching session on April 15th. It's not tax day. Oh my gosh, prayers answered. So we must feel extremely optimistic about life because no one's writing big checks today, right? You know, Cameron and I were talking about when you're doing these Zoom meetings and you're trying to be funny. It's like a really tough crowd because you hit with the punchline and it's silent. You know, like, so it's like, wow, I'm gonna have to really work at it today. So anyway, it's good to be with you guys. We've got an awful lot to talk about. Bettina had a good question about what should we be prepared to do. Grab something to write on and get ready to use your chat. Let me give you the quick agenda. I think you probably saw this in the email yesterday. We're going to talk about some dialogue that we can have with buyers and sellers. We're going to talk about, why buyers buy and sellers sell, even given our top or our challenging situation we have right now. So we'll talk about the top things in the survey that NAR did. And then we're going to address some of the market issues. And I think we're going to talk about some communication stuff too, if we have enough time. So there's 82 of us on the call today. I'm so glad that we can be together. This is bread for the head. This is sunshine. We'll channel Jackie Bass's vitamin D that she's getting and channel it through this Zoom meeting today because she's sitting out by the cactus, the saguaro cactus. So today is all about being uplifted and positive energy. So I'm glad that we all could be together. Let me start us off. I have let me share my screen and I'm going to pose a few questions, guys. So grab your chat. Rachel, please don't let me forget that question. Matter of fact, let's see, who wants to be my helper? Jennifer? Jennifer, monitor my chat if we forget a question. I don't want to forget any questions. So we'll come back to Rachel's question in just a minute. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Get ready to write some answers down, guys. This is a couple of things I wanted to go over, not quite that. Just one sec. Where did I put my questions? Right here. Okay. Let's start off with getting a general pulse from everybody. And I apologize for those who are just on iPhones. Just listen, I guess, through these. Are you busier today? Are you the same? Are you less busy? Would you give me a pulse about where you'd place that? Are you finding your time is difficult to manage because there's more to do? Is there less to do? You're less busy, or you're about the same? The next one is, do you feel more stress, less stress, or about the same?
Well, we have some answers that came through on the chat. So for the first question, we have less from Dawn Chapman. Heidi Ingham says busier. Kimberly says busier. Kira says busier. Joel says busier.
Okay.
Somebody that doesn't have a name associated with them says less. Delia says less busy.
Okay. Keep them coming, guys. You're teaching each other. This is not just for me to get a pulse, but I think this is a good way to show our peers just, how we're doing. By the way, if anybody, just stay on mute if you can. Someone may have their phone on as well. Okay, I think we're good. There goes the echo. Keep them coming, Jen.
Okay, so we have Darren that said same. Wendy said less busy as of a week ago. Christine said less. Kimberly said about the same. Nancy said busier. Let's see. Kevin said busier. And then I think now we're getting into your second question.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question is, have you improved your routine to make sure priorities are accomplished? Sorry about the grammar on that one. And the next one is, what are you doing to improve your mindset? Stay with those two and see if you can give me some kind of feedback there. When I've been talking one-on-one with agents, I'm noticing that, of course, life has been paused, and obviously we know what's happening with all of us, but we've had to redo our routine. So I'm curious, have you made those adjustments to make sure the daily priorities are accomplished? If you have, maybe share a quick tip on how you've done that. And then what are you doing to improve a positive mindset? When we hear so much, I guess troubling news is a way to look at it, how are you dealing with that? Go ahead and read those off, Jen.
So it sounds like for the most part, we're getting in some answers, like from Eric saying less busy, same stress. Kevin said busier, more stress. Julie, more. Kathy says less busy, more stressed. Kevin Murray says stressed. Sandy says same. Jackie says less busy, more stress. Jennifer says there is more to do, but less buyers, more stress. Julie says busier. Allison says less. And then Jason says less, but starting to pick back up. Sandy says less stress. Nancy says less busy. That I think is my fault, not motivated. And then wait, sorry, I just lost hang on one second. My chat window just minimized.
Okay. And we probably don't, I think getting maybe a general pulse is good. Jeff, I see yours. Chris is extremely high risk, so I'm keeping busy, on the new house, not leaving unless absolutely necessary. I know some of our spouses, or I've got a daughter who's very high risk. So we've been, really, really attentive to make sure we stay safe here. Wendy, thanks for the feedback. Kristen, I see yours. Routine has been hard to nail down. Work is unfortunately taking a back burner. Okay, I think do you guys start to see maybe your own thoughts and feelings echoed in your peers? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In Zoom meetings, we have to go like this. So it's the only way we can communicate. If you're there.
We're
yes.
hearing a lot of agents are saying it's kind of all about routine, changing your mindset, doing something, for your mind and body to kind of help you stay positive. So that's a lot of the feedback that we're getting here.
Yeah, great. Well, the bread for the head is, I think we've got to be smart about some things that we've always known. The media in general likes shocking news in general, and sometimes shocking news is the truth. So, it's not to say what's true or not true. It's just that the media really likes shocking news because it gets people's attention and drives viewership, and viewership drives advertising, and advertising drives revenue. And there's built-in incentive for the shocking news to be a dominant message. Well, the problem with that is that us as human beings, we get weighed down by the emphasis of negative information over time. And so this is why we need good positive bread for the head, and that things are really going well. So the next exercise is I want to take you through, I'm going to ask you guys to think about this. Now you can have it short or longer, but your answer would be, tell me what's going amazingly well. You're so grateful for blank. I'm so glad I have this. What's been a real benefit, blessing that's happened because of this shift in our normal lifestyle, that you'll look back on and say, I'm kind of glad that happened in some interesting way. What is that? So then we'll start getting some of this. So Scott says, my wife. Oh, I would second that. Relationship with family. Very good, Joel. Family reconnected. Yeah, tons of time with the family. That's good. Family, friends. Delia, I like your introspection. It's great. Communication with the kids. You guys can read these too as we go along. I think it's really important that if we're going to take a piece of data, like we can't show houses the way we used to, or people can't come to Park City the way they used to, whatever the struggle is, that we also put the same amount of emphasis on the things that are going really well. And to be careful about making the heavy news get more attention. Because if we think about this logically, shouldn't they at least get the same attention? At least. And then when we want good bread for the head, we should amplify the good things, because there's a lot of really great things that are happening. So yard work, great. I would second that one. I actually got projects done earlier this last weekend than I normally would. And exercise has been good. I mean, if you're exercising outside, that's working out. I think the weather is cooperating a little bit here too. My father is an emergency room physician, and we've had a lot of private conversations about, what's going on. And he reminded me that, if folks would exercise consistently, 4 to 5 times a week for at least 30 minutes, get their heart rates up. He says that is the best medication to treat so many different ailments. And he says, frankly, he goes, a lot of us would lose our jobs because it would cut down the need for so many healthcare workers. And he was reminding me of that. When you're stressed, you guys, if you're feeling anxious, if you have a hard time sleeping, if you're nervous or you're scared or you're fearful, exercise has a great chemical treatment for anxiety, and it helps you sleep. And the studies have shown if you do that in the morning, it has a better benefit. But get exercise. And you guys, if you know me, that's coming from someone who's had some life wake-up calls in the cardiac world. So I'm one of those guys who've been cursed with heart disease. So I've got to take medicines for that, and I make it a very high priority to exercise. So I'll hope that's a good takeaway, that you make that a priority. You'll feel better and you'll sleep better if you exercise. While you're exercising, listen to something positive and take something good in. Turn the CNN and the Fox News off, especially CNN. No. Whatever your preferred channel is. I don't care what it is. But turn off whatever that is just the amplified negative stuff, and get something positive in there. And I think you'll feel better. Go ahead and take some time to read through these. Anything stand out, Jen?
Yeah, so it's kind of neat to see that some people have made new friends during this kind of physical distancing. So it sounds like Kimberly has a new friend that she walks with 3 times a week. So exercise is definitely trending here. Doing some sort of project or working in your yard just to have that sense of accomplishment. A couple of people are listening to new podcasts, and everybody's just kind of saying, get outside when you can. So getting outside and working out. Y'all are actually motivating me to work out.
Very good. Yes. Okay, great. Okay, one more gratitude exercise. So I'm going to describe a person, and I'd like you to think of it. So clear your mind for a minute, and it's going to be the first person that comes to mind. So the person I'm going to describe in your life has been an amazing teacher. And the reason they're amazing teacher is because they taught you how to persevere and be resilient. You learn discipline and hard work ethic from them. Could you please share who that might be if it's not too personal? Put who that would be. Kevin Larson, my dad. That doesn't surprise me, Kev. Peg says mom, father, so many of our parents. Gal, can you get emotional on a Zoom? I mean, I just can't help but think that I bet you a lot of these folks may not be alive right now. And I'm sure it's very uplifting to have their legacy of love still living on in those that they devoted their life to. Because these lessons are extremely valuable to learn. It's something even as a parent, we want our children to know. And you think about how valuable that lesson is, and it's worth trudging uphill for, which we are all doing right now. So the next piece of this exercise, I suppose, if this person is still around, would you pause for a second, grab your phone, and text them that you are on a Zoom coaching session and you were asked, who was it that stands out as a teacher that taught you perseverance, tenacity, discipline, and work ethic? And that you were the first person that came to mind, and just say, I thought you should know.
Well, Jennifer Israel said her person does not text, so we might need an alternative method for some of these parents and grandparents and mentors.
I'm going to give you a minute to do that. We'll just, you know what? I mean, there's 98 of us on this call, and we're going to talk about real estate stuff here in a minute, but I'll bet you right now that what you're doing is the most important thing you'll do today. That when your head hits the pillow and you took a minute to tell this person that they were the ones who stood out as a teacher of discipline and work ethic and sacrifice, that there won't be anything else you do today that will be more important than that. Kev Larson, my dad has passed, but he wrote his history and is a great read to remind me what is important. Good reminder. So how do you think we text to heaven, Heidi? I mean, my personal feeling is it's happening now. I just think the people who care about us are very aware of what we do. That's just my personal spiritual opinion. So I know it means a lot to them. Maybe that's why I got a little emotional there when I thought about, wow, this means a lot to somebody to be thought of this way. You know, what happens with gratitude is gratitude pushes fear away. You know, it's like they can't exist in the same emotional space. And so the legacy of love that these people have given us is also a great medication for the fears and anxieties that we go through now. Also, let me turn this on its head and remind all of us here that it's very likely that we're being watched, and how we deal with this challenge and how we approach it. And what we do is a lot louder than what we say. So keep that in mind, that your own legacy of perseverance as a teacher is being, those lessons are taught in this classroom right now in life. So remember that, because what we do matters. Sorry guys, I didn't know that I would even, I'd get, be a little sensitive about that this morning, but okay, thanks for your participation. Later on, before we end this session, there's now almost 100 of us. If anyone gets back a neat reply, and you're okay sharing it, share that at the end if you don't mind. Okay, I'm going to pivot to some more real estate stuff. So I hope everyone's feeling some sunshine today already through that exercise of gratitude. Okay, let me show my screen. And this is going to be what we could say to buyers and sellers today. Okay. For those who are on iPhones, I tried to make the font larger. I was thinking of you. I just want you to know that. This is a 16 font. So this came up in sales meeting yesterday. As we wage the war on the coronavirus, what might we say to potential buyers and sellers? Why should someone buy right now? Why should someone sell right now? So let me take you through the first paragraph, and then we'll make sure you get to your chat, and I'd love to hear some of your feedback. But first and foremost, I think it's important for us to all remember that there's much bigger issues and priorities at play than what the state of the market may be as of right now. Things that matter most to a family and the needs of the family far outweigh things like interest rates, pending rates, percentage of listings sold, and key data points. These can only light the way to challenges, but they rarely take center stage on why someone buys or sells. So with that being said, I think it's important for all of us to acknowledge bigger decisions that are facing each family and individual. Help them work through those issues. One way is to simply just ask good questions and then listen closely to their answers. Sometimes this requires empathy and to be empathetic or sympathetic to their situation. And a coach yesterday for me reminded, he said, Will, remember, everyone's having a different experience. You might want to write that down as a reminder. In the COVID war, every person and every family is having a different experience. They're not all having the same one you are. So that's why we ask, how is everybody? Are you healthy? What are your challenges? Are you fearful of anything? And then listen closely to how they respond. So back to the real estate side, perhaps more than ever, as families find themselves staying at home for longer periods of time, we are in need of housing that meets the need of each family. So if we wage this war on this terrible virus, we find the home is serving a need to be what? School, work, I'll even add church is in there, restaurant, the gym, entertainment, and a place to relax. So many of these expanded functions of a home are becoming more common, and society is now going to weigh the value of these conveniences. It's like Mother Nature is trying a test. How valuable is the home? And that's the question. So some segments, if we took work, are reporting to their owners, CEOs, and corporations that the results they're seeing from working at home are quite positive, and in some cases even better. Take Berkshire Hathaway, for example. Right now we have 99 people on this call. When I've done in live personal training sessions in Saddleview or in Old Mill, we rarely get on a normal Wednesday coaching more than 30. So we could also say, in some respects, we are seeing some positive effects of working at home. Do you think that the home is proved to be more valuable in this stay-at-home order? Is that like almost obvious? Someone said to me, hey, Will, that's safety. It's always been a safety zone, but it's, in a physical sense, against this war, it's the zone of safety. So how might we address, so I had a buyer this morning have some, I think some buyer's remorse. So you can imagine, now they happen to be a healthcare worker. Okay, so they're not a worker that might lose their job. As a matter of fact, they're busier than they've ever been. Their fear is if they contract the virus, they get sick, and they're worried about that, and they're under contract right now. So our agent called me this morning and said they're nervous. This is like buyer's remorse because their friend at work said, quote, "You're crazy to buy a house right now." Don't you love it when they listen to the friend and not us, right? So, but look at the communication pathway through figuring that out. How important is it to have a home? How about given these circumstances, is it more or less important to you? And watch them work their way through their own anxieties. You might find, so the husband is working from home and she is a nurse. So she was answering for both of them. And matter of fact, I think it was last sales meeting. Matter of fact, Kevin Larson would probably remember this, but I said that I predicted that the Wi-Fi speeds and data speeds are going to be just as important as square footage. So you're going to go, it's 4 bedrooms, 4 bath. It's on 0.83 of an acre, and it's got 8,000 square feet, and the Wi-Fi speed is. And everyone will go, are you serious? What was the Wi-Fi speed again? So they actually asked that, and that's part of their due diligence, is to verify the Wi-Fi speed, because this particular husband will be working at home. They were told they're working at home for at least the next 60 days. Yes, Jennifer.
Will, so Kevin said, yes, high-speed internet is now a very valuable feature in your home office. And then Cindy asked if movers are working right now and how can people move to a new home?
I've heard you guys weigh in if you heard something firsthand, but I've heard nothing on the front of movers not working. As far as I understand, is they are working, practicing the CDC guidelines.
They are essential service, Will.
Yeah. Oh,
they're on the list. Yeah.
So good question. Yeah, well, I mean, we are seeing some new norms, and this is kind of fun to project what those are. That was kind of last week's coaching session. But hey, can I remind you guys of some things that I think look, this is my 30th year in the business. So I'm coaching myself here. I sometimes forget some of the obvious benefits of real estate. And I'm going to just remind us really quickly what those are. Here they are. These are financial benefits. We've been talking about the benefits of the family. So because the home is safe, pride of ownership. As a matter of fact, here, let me skip to that really quick. Okay. For those of you who have your computer, look at this screen. And look at what the number one answer is. The desire to own my own home across the board in every age category still remains the number one reason someone has purchased a home. And you can see that being highest in those who are coming out of renting a home. So you see, when we communicate, if we skip over this, well, I'm sure that you feel a desire to own your own home. If we don't say that, it's kind of like we skipped over one of the most important reasons to own a home. The next one is kind of, it's larger. There's smaller down here too, okay. All right, you guys, you can laugh at that. In my head right now, I just said, does that mean size matters? Okay, I'm just going to move on. But size apparently matters in homes. I'm just moving on. Desire to be closer to family and friends, so geographical locations are important. Job relocation is important, and changes in family. And I think we're going to start to see some of these things climb the charts, because remember, it's the workplace, it's the restaurant, right? It's the entertainment, it's church. It's becoming all these other things. It's the gym. So as people start to analyze what they want in a house, they may start thinking, well, these are reasons for me to move. They're compelling enough for me to make a change. Any comments? Yeah.
Will, are you able to send this out to everybody via email after this call? We have a couple of requests for that.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for reminding me. I'm just going to send all of this. Okay, these are just the notes from today. I'm just going to send it all. Okay, and this is being recorded, so you can come back and reference some of the verbal stuff. So yeah, thank you. Don't let me forget that, Jen. Okay. Okay, here are the financial benefits, just to remind everybody. If you took a person at 25 and they never purchased, and then they become 80 and they have expenses, like even something like funeral or burial
Good,
expense.
sweetheart. How are you?
Okay, someone needs to be muted. Let me figure out who that is.
No, I'm not. I'm just doing
Benjamin.
something here real quick.
Oh, it's Benjamin. Hey,
No,
Ben.
you're fine. No. I want to talk to you. No, I want to talk.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Had to stop sharing the screen. It's all good. It sounded like an important call. But if you took somebody who, lived their entire life renting, they're going to miss equity, right? So equity is gained by three ways. One is the market appreciation over time. Principal payments reduce the loan balances, and then upgrades, which is a reflection of pride of ownership and the things they want done in the home. So that's a huge reason to own real estate. There's tax advantages as well. So you take advantage of capital gains. That means that's $250,000 per person that can be realized as a gain, $500,000 for a couple, and there is no tax on that income. Now, history shows that homeowners have significantly more net household wealth than renters, and there's affordability even as rents can rise. Home prices, when you get in early and stay in home, that becomes less over time. I did add number 5 here. I think right now we are going to see a segment of the population of sellers who are going to become more motivated. This is going to vary, guys, in area and price point. So it's not like we're jumping into heavy seller motivated market across the board. That's not the case. We're still seeing a ton of multiple offers still happening, and sellers are being picky in many price point markets. But we are going to see a segment where they're more motivated. Now, for sellers, as we mentioned before about changes in family, so don't skip over those. But there are going to be features that people will want to leave their current situation and upgrade to. So I would look for that in prospecting and change when you're engaging people in your phone calls and such. Just remember to see if they start ringing that bell of I think we may want to make a change. When people hey, have you had anyone say something like it sounds like the real estate's is gonna really struggle? Have you heard people say that? Well, if that's the case, then we would see a real trend in an upward supply happening. Well, we're not. Stop sharing the screen. So we're not seeing inventory rising typically and then the demand shrinking. As a matter of fact, if I took last year, if this is last year's inventory, it's here, and this year's inventory is here. I think you've seen those graphs, that we've shown before in sales meeting. So we're not seeing that trend at all. So we see less homes, and we're still seeing the same demand, generally speaking. We had some good numbers from last week. Steve Roney reported we had 53, I think, closings Wasatch Front or under pendings, and then last year at this time we had 57. So we're off slightly, but not a lot. So we'll keep watching that. Okay.
Hey,
yeah,
Will.
Craig Lelis had a good reminder. You can log in, for those on the Wasatch Front or have the WFR, they already have a tag for that. You can look at all the statistics that are updated for COVID. There's like 6 different graphs that are current and by the day, which is very, very helpful to speak intelligently about the market. Yeah, Kev, you had a question?
I was just indicating the Wasatch back is significantly down, about 50%.
Okay.
But it's still active. That's the point. We kind of expect that because half of our market is from out-of-state buyers, investors, and they're just not here right now. There's nothing to do. So while the local market is still chugging along, those investment properties and the other half of our market is just not here because none of those buyers are in town right now, and there's nothing to do if they came here. So we're getting hit a lot harder than the Salt Lake Valley and the Wasatch Front.
Yeah, good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so since this is bread for the head and it's sunshine and positive, even though Jackie is the only one in the sunshine today, because it's pretty gloomy out there. But in here in the coaching session, it's sun. Think of 3 reasons, Kev, to Kevin's point, think of 3 reasons why it will be better in the Wasatch back market once the stay-at-home orders are lifted. Give me reasons why it will be better than it's ever been. Hopefully, I've already primed the pump on this. Kevin Murray, very good point. Less dense population. So when they're stacked on each other in New York, Chicago, LA, these larger cities, there's going to be a demand. Thanks, Delia. I think that there's going to be a lot of folks who are going to start looking at that and saying, my home needs to have elbow room. Again, 3 reasons why it'll be better. Pent-up demand, wide open spaces. Very good, Eric. 30 minutes to International Airport. I think a lot of people are going to start looking at, Utah has the big city amenities in a very small city feel. Keep them coming. 3 reasons why it'll be better in the Wasatch back in all those markets. Hey, by the way, and I am broadcasting from home today, and it's because Tammy and I share the same office here. So, and she's not here right now, but Tammy works on the Mumford team, and they've got just under 40 under contracts in Stone Creek. So she told me this morning that she analyzed where those buyers were coming from, and just kind of hot off the press. They have 5 new interested buyers they're going to try to write offers on. How many of those 5 right now do you think are from out of state? 1. Isn't that interesting? So 1. Now, will that become 10 and then 5 are out of state? I guess we'll wait to see. Right now, there's a lot of demand still within our own markets. Kevin Larson, lifestyle, thanks. Kira, people will realize they need more space and distance between homes. I think that's, this could turn on its head, zoning issues, master plans, things like that. We're going to wait to see what that does and pay close attention to that. So you guys are hitting some of the things that we already talked about, elbow room and space, but also think about square footage and what the home is now performing its role. As it's a workspace, it's the gym, it's the restaurant. I don't know about you guys, but we feel like a bed and breakfast around here. We haul the groceries in, we make a meal, we clean up, and we wait for the next round. Nobody, just me? Okay.
Will, we had a request to address Heidi's question earlier. So Heidi Ingham had said that there were a number of lowball offers, which have been very difficult to present to sellers. How can we communicate that buyers are not trying to take advantage of the current situation? Buyers in Park City are saying they have lost 25% in their portfolio, and so that is what they are expecting to pay. How do we get through these objections? Okay.
Kev Larson, make sure you weigh into, I'll take a running start at this. So I can understand a buyer. Okay, so a buyer is ready, willing, and able, and their ability to be able is tied to their own personal finances. But a buyer's particular financial struggle does not necessarily tie to the value of real estate. Now, so far, nationwide and locally, the reports we're hearing is that this will not have a depreciating effect on home values. So, sellers may want to be patient and buyers may have to get real. I mean, I know we've always had that struggle. I think I'd go back and look at my comparables, and then of course the buyer is going to say, well, that was a different world. And I can appreciate that. I'd be sensitive to the buyers, what they're going through. But that doesn't mean that a property is now worth less. There are buyers who are making more money. There are segments of the workforce that are doing better. So, but we're looking at the ready, willing, able. They're ready, they're willing, but are they able to pay what they used to be able to pay? Maybe that's changed for them. I'd be sensitive to that. But some buyers are actually doing better. And some of their portfolios, I mean, look, Dave Ramsey this morning, he reminded us all, the stock market is a drama queen. She's really, really happy, and then she's really, really sad, and then she's really, really happy. And it's going to go through that. But to say that all buyers across the board have lost money, I'm sure that's the case for some, but that'd be too broad of a brush. Kev, fill in.
Yeah, I was going to make the same comment. We're talking about different asset classes. That's like to say if the price of oil goes down, then the price of tech should go down as well. Everything else should be on sale.
Yeah.
Real estate has its own intrinsic value because it is a hard asset. It provides things other than a return. It provides shelter and a lot of other intrinsic things that people value highly. And so that buyer's purchasing ability may have gone down, but that doesn't mean the price of the house has gone down. So remind people of that. Real estate is its own asset class, and it's governed by supply and demand and the intrinsic value of real estate, not the price of their or not the value of their portfolio.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure an appraiser would ever make a comparison between the stock market and the value of real estate. So yeah, that would be good. But I'm not, I think we should be understanding with people, certainly. So.
Will, we had some questions just again to get more clarity on who's making more money. And then just a friendly reminder to please address how to handle listings that sellers want to take off the market and kind of talk about accumulation of days on market and things like that.
Okay, great. Okay, Kev, do you want to take the one that is, I'll take Jennifer's last question. What was the first one, Jen? I got to pull something on my screen to show you the answer to that one.
Yeah, some of the agents are wanting to know who's making more right now.
Okay. Kev, do you want to maybe take a stab at that while I pull this up?
Who's making more what was the question, Jen?
Whose income is increasing right now during this time? So, yeah, like what areas of business are people making more money?
It's a good question, Will. You kind of brought that up, but I think there's a lot of overtime in a lot of the food supply, grocery. People are, working lots of overtime. For Amazon's hiring 75,000 people. A lot of the the gig economy, those people that are working from home. Zoom is certainly making more. There's a lot of people who are in the tech industry that are doing really well right now, but I think that's industry by industry.
Yeah, grocery, delivery, those have taken off. And those who are really good at the stock market are doing better too. But I mean, in my circle, I guess in my tribe, for the first time, my orthopedic surgeon brother is affected by this for the first time, a surgeon. So how
most
is
of it's elective, and he shut down from the elective surgeries.
People are walking around with their bum knees because they can't go get their surgery. And so, that's been interesting. I mean, he was certainly not affected by the recession. Usually the healthcare workers are not. I know anesthesiologists who are tied to those surgeries are also making a lot less. But there are segments that are doing well. I mean, you hear about it on the news. I mean, I know it might be 1/10 of the population, but I guess I would just remind our buyers who want to lowball offers that they're just because they've been affected, everyone is having a different experience. So not everyone is having the same experience. Okay, so let me show you guys something you need to know. Look, we're going to try to finish the call in 10 minutes and keep to our time, but I want to show you, but I've got to log on. Hang on a sec. So can you guys bear with me for a minute? Let's see, where did I put that? Sorry, guys, hang on a minute. That's coaching for tomorrow. That's our class for Friday. Oh, shoot, hang on. Have you ever noticed when you're trying to do something quickly, you actually do it slower? Let me log in really quick. The definitions. The definitions of these will answer Jen's question. So let's go here. This is what Craig Lelis brought up earlier. Let's see if I can find those really quickly. Yeah, right here. Okay, and I did bring this up in sales meeting 2 weeks ago. Here, let me blow that up. See a little better. You're gonna have to get familiar with these definitions better and make a strategic choice as to what's better for sellers. So the question was, should we pull it off the market? Okay, well, the off-market status, remember, indicates there is a listing in place. And it wasn't long ago where NAR had the clear cooperation rule where it had to be on the MLS if a sign went up. And in the Wasatch Front MLS, this became the status that was a pre-launch. So I've been saying this again. I'm sorry if I'm being too repetitive for those who already know this, but this is a mixed bag here. The off-market are sellers who still want to sell but have taken it off probably because of the showing complexities and the safety issues. But it's also those who are ready to go active, but their home is not yet ready, painted, cleaned, furniture, dejunked, things like that. So you got to pay close attention to this because it's a mixed bag of pre-launch and those who are not yet ready. But remember, they still want to sell. So the issue about days on market, when you're in off-market status, then there is no days on market counting. The withdrawn, the seller does not want to sell and the listing agreement is remaining in effect, but this is the same as like we don't want to sell. Okay? The last one is canceled where this is, it's no longer valid. There is no listing agreement valid if you guys can see my cursor here. So no longer in effect. We still have a listing agreement withdrawn, no days on the market, no days on market with off market. Jen, does that answer the question?
Sorry, I think that addresses most people's questions about like the days on market. And then maybe even for the Park City crew, can you kind of explain to them if there are any variances about days on market with the Flex MLS statuses?
I believe that's the same,
Yeah.
pretty much. It's the certificate to withhold. So basically, once that's filled out, it can come off the MLS. You could list it and then go immediately to withhold status, which to stop the days on market to allow them 30 days to fix up the property, do whatever, but at least it's listed, but it's pulled off, but that indicates there is an active listing agreement. When a listing is canceled, then it's obviously just taken off and it's fair game for anybody else to list it.
Thanks, y'all. Yeah, and Reese sent out some information to the Park City team this morning that she had gotten from the boards about the listing status changes and then days on market as well. That's in your email.
Thanks, Reese.
Appreciate that, Reese. That's great. Okay. Let's go back to, am I still sharing screen?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to kind of wrap this up. Did anybody receive a reply text from their mentor, teacher, motivator, example? Did anyone receive a reply text that could be shared? Kim says yes. Kim, if I can unmute you if you want, or Karen.
And also too, Will, just a reminder that you wanted Cindy to talk about her morning meeting with James Wood.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Okay. I got to work on my timing better. Thanks, Jen. Hey, Cindy, could you give us a 1 minute debrief on what really stood out with the meeting you had today?
You bet. Good morning, everybody. Great to see your faces. My son's in the business school up at the David Eccles at the U, and so through that, I was able to get on a Zoom meeting with James Wood, Jim Roden, a couple of the top-notch economic folks, and then the gal from the budget department of the governor's office, and she handles the rainy day fund. So they all spoke. I'm going to get my hands on that recording, and then I'll share it with the management, and you guys can push it out how you'd like. So James Wood, and they went over each recession, the 80s, the 90s, the dot-com ones, and spoke which industries were affected. It was excellent, really super good. And in terms for what we're faced with real estate, James Wood spoke to housing will be a big part of the recovery. However, it's going to really be depending on what happens with the mortgage. So for example, if Chase Bank yesterday came out with the 20% down thing, he says if the rest of the Lowe's lenders follow suit and require 20% down, then our housing arena is not very safe.
What wasn't that for the 20%? Wasn't that for jumbo?
No, all of them, my understanding. So I may be off.
Kira, you're shaking your head. You guys know that Kira has served a long time in the lending world. So you have something to say about that too?
My understanding is that Chase did that for all their loans, but that,
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
So
Got it.
That was the tone, and then I'll just close quickly to the gal who manages the Utah's rainy day fund. They have just shy of $1 billion, 900 and change million dollars in the rainy day fund. And then remember, Utah was the leader of bouncing back from the 2008, and they spoke into that. And again, I'll get my hands on that recording. I didn't think to voice record it until the last 14 minutes, but I sent that to Jake. I'll send it over to you, Coop.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Cindy.
Will, we also have a question about what about the 700 plus FICO score requirement?
Yeah, I think that was part of the jumbo plan that we got yesterday. Is there's only a handful of lenders who are doing jumbo financing, and they are requiring a 700 FICO score. Yeah, I'm getting that hands up. Yes. Okay. Confirmation. Hey, Rachel, on your question, when I was speaking about the what we normally would see when real estate suffers is we see an oversupply and under demand. And we don't see that at all right now in any statistics. Matter of fact, we are way low in inventory. which I think this is why we're feeling we should feel very optimistic about where we are right now. And to Cindy's point, think of the factors that go into how long a property takes to sell and what it sells for. Now, if you guys have been in my coaching before, remember there's 6 factors. You remember? Yes. Like if I called on someone right now to say what they were, you would know. You're like, dang it, I knew I should have studied. Location. Okay. Now I know. Condition, right? Price. What else? Market, marketing, and finance. So all of those weigh into how long it takes a property to sell and what it sells for. Those are called the factors. So when we're analyzing, well, will it sell? Will it not? How long will it take? We always look at all of that. So to Cindy's point, pull financing out. If the availability of financing is continue to expand or retracts, then it does have an effect. It is one of the factors, but it's not the only factor. Okay. So back to our sunshine. Sorry for the mistiming, guys. I'll get a little bit better about this. But I'd asked who had heard back from one of their mentors, teachers. Kimberly said, "You're welcome. You're in my heart always." That's nice. Wendy Cole said, "Anything for you." So Wendy, who did that come from? Wendy, where are you?
I'm here.
Oh, who was that from?
From a really good friend and mentor of mine that he's kind of been coaching. He's really into like he owns several businesses locally and he's really successful. So he's kind of been my coach for a long time, and he's been checking in with me daily and just making sure my head's staying clear and that I'm like working through things rationally and everything. So it's been super helpful.
Great. That's great. Well, thanks you guys. Before we sign off, so does anyone remember, so we'll take one more minute if it's okay. Steve Roney yesterday and Jamie were mentioning a particular song. This would be like, who knows what song in sales meeting yesterday that they were referencing? Type it in if you remember.
It was Fleetwood Mac.
It was Fleetwood Mac. Yep.
Don't
Who
think about
knows?
tomorrow.
Kev, do you remember?
Don't.
Don't. Interesting. That is in the title.
Don't stop thinking.
Don't stop believing. There we go.
Tomorrow.
Got it.
So do you guys, do this here. I'm going to put us on give me a thumbs up if you know the song. Do you know the song? So if you've never heard of Don't Stop Believing by Fleetwood Mac, go like this. Let me thumb through the pictures. Emily, you know it? Reese? Joel, you know the song, right? Patrick? Okay. So I was thinking, I was challenged today by my mentoring coach. He says, okay, well, what are you going to do, Will, to make sure when they leave the call that they still feel positive? I said, well, I don't know. I mean, here's what I'm going to go through. And they said, well, is there something that would be very effective that you could do that would ring in their head and they would remember all day and it would just keep coming to them? You're picking up on this?
We have some requests for you to grab your guitar that would make this more memorable.
That would. Okay. Okay, where's the tip jar? Okay, I'm gonna do this. Who knows how this is gonna sound? Probably sound horrible. So, you've got okay, I got everyone's attention now. I hate it when my mentors write. I hate it when they're right. They challenge me to do this. Okay, so you guys hear this all right? Okay, so Fleetwood Mac, Don't Stop Believing. You ready? Okay, Julie, you got to hang up the phone so you can hear the song. She's doing a deal. If you wake up and don't want to smile, if it takes just a little while, open your eyes, look at the day, well, you'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be here and better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. There you go. All right. Okay, now, since I put myself out there, I really, really hope you guys have a great day. Look, you know what? I looked at my participants. I lost 20 participants when I started playing. Hey, I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for coming to coaching. It's sure an honor to work with you. So let me know if I can help you in any way. Feel free to stay on if you want, but thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Coop. That was awesome.
Rob Carter's going, you did not just do that. Patrick, did you really just do that? Did you just sing a song for everybody? Yeah, I did.
That was awesome. You should do Rush next. Loved it. Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick.
Have a good one.
See ya. Hi, Paige. Cindy, I'm crazy, aren't I? I'm not?
No, you're not crazy, Coop. That was perfect. Really. That was so good. Thank you. And thank you for all the slides that you put up with the great content. So I'll look forward to getting those.
Yeah, I'm going to email those out right now.
Cool. Good, good.
You know what, I'm realizing that the chat stuff, I have to go back and I have to print it out because when you close the meeting,
Yeah.
so actually I'm going to need to stop recording, pause recording. Okay.